Oh, yo. Okay, so we are live. This is the post game live. My name is Bride. This is Eagles Real Talk. And we just took our first L of the season, the Eagles, that is. Tough game. Tough game. Tough game. We'll get more into it in a second. But let's go over let's go over just the basics of this game. Let's be honest. The refs were absolutely terrible tonight. They obviously missed a very big and crucial face mask. It was the biggest play of the game. It's not just on. It's not just on the refs. With that said, obviously, we didn't play our best. Four turnovers. We only had three turnovers going into this game. So to have four turnovers in one game, that just right there, that put us behind the eight ball, and we went down fairly early. Zay edits refs, injuries, turnovers, and weather most likely lost that game. I'm not gonna blame the weather. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, that's our home turf, but all the other things, refs, man, turnovers. Like I said, four turnovers when we only had three coming into the game. And you know what? I felt good all game. I mean, all day and all week leading up to the game. But about 10 minutes before the game started, I had that weird feeling like it was going to be a weird game. I had that odd tingling spider sense. You know what I mean? I had that feeling, and lo and behold, it was one of those weird, wonky, wacky games for the NFC East division. I think there was seven turnovers total. They were all over the place, both teams. The refs didn't know what to do. If they did know what to do, they were doing it, them favors. Bro said refs were awful tonight. You know what? I'm not concerned. Just get ready for next week. That's what I said. At the end of the day, going 17-0 felt like, it was within our grasp, right? We felt like we were pretty close to doing, some history this year. But at the end of the day, if we lose a couple games, it is what it is. It's all about getting that first round bye, which is still in our grasp. Obviously, now we're tied. Well, not tied because we have the tiebreaker over the Minnesota Vikings because we whooped their ass 28-7, I believe, week 2. So we have the edge over them overall. But we did take an L tonight, so now we have to work ourselves up. We definitely have to win the next 3 or 4 games, get back on track. I don't want to see this team, start to go down. Let's talk about this. Did we miss Avonte Maddox tonight? Did we miss him in the lineup? I think that definitely was like an elephant in the room, honestly, because we were having some trouble. And then let's be honest, big play Slay, he's been nothing but sensational all year. But that first half, man, he was giving up a lot of plays. Zay edits, I think I got at least 300 missed calls and 1,000 text messages from Cowboys, Washington, and Steelers fans. And you know what? Keep them on red. That's what I would do. Or send 8-1 back, because at the end of the day, we're better than them. You know what I mean? It was just one of them games. It was just one of them games today. You know what I mean? So we have to clean it up. I think maybe that 10 days rest that I originally thought was going to be good for our team. Maybe it was too many days rest. We did have the bye not too long ago. So it was the bye and then the mini bye with the 10 days rest in between, a Thursday night win in Houston and the game tonight. 10 days may have been too many days off. We got a little sloppy. Quez even had a fumble tonight. We just had an off night. We just got to call it like it is. It was our first off night. We still had a chance to win at the end. And I'll go on record and say, if that call on Brandon Graham wasn't called at the end of the game, which I felt like, yes, it was a bonehead play by him. You know what I mean? He should have just jumped over him or pulled back even more. But at the end of the game, you're trying to win the game for your team. You're going full speed ahead. He did pull up slightly and bump Heineke, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. The refs, if they've been, I was off my couch seeing Quest. Yeah, I know. I feel you. I feel you, Zay. But at the end of the day, when the refs weren't doing us no favors the entire game, the entire game, we can't think that in the end they're going to do us a favor and have a no call. They were calling it ticky tack. They were, they missed that, like I said, that face mask, which was obvious. They even showed it when they showed it from the view of the referees, like behind the referee's head. He was literally faced directly at the play and still didn't throw the flag for the face mask. So, I'm not saying the NFL is rigged. I'm not going to say nothing like that. But sometimes it seems like they have agendas out there. That's all I'm going to say. And it looked like they had an agenda not to do us no favors tonight. I think it made for better TV maybe if we took an L tonight, and they weren't going to do us no favors. But I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theories tonight with y'all. I'm just going to say we took an L. We're now 8-1. We have a game coming up. It's a winnable game. I think it's we have a winnable schedule. We're not going to go 17-0 now, so that kind of monkey is off our back a little bit, because at the end of the day, it's exciting, but it can weigh on you, especially the team. We're just the fans, but it can weigh on you, that pressure of, always answering the 17-0 questions and, hearing the 72 Dolphins and all that. It can become a lot. So now that little bit of pressure's off of us. We still have, this is a war, okay? This season is a war, and tonight was just one battle of 17 leading up into the big war. You know what I mean? So we just have to make sure we secure that first place, get that bye. You know what I mean? We don't want to go on the road. We want to stay at the crib for the entire playoffs. And that means going forward, we can't lose too many more games. At the beginning of the year, I had us going 15-2. Okay. So I still think that is, within reach, especially considering half of the season we went 8-0. So if we can go the other half, maybe drop one game or less, I feel like we'll secure that, because I don't see the Vikings. Don't get me wrong, the Vikings have been playing well. They have been. We did beat their ass week 2, but besides that, they have been playing well. But I feel like they're gonna drop, a few more games. They'll probably finish like, somewhere like 13 wins, something like that. So if we stay around that 15 win, 14 win, we keep, Nick Sirianni cleans it up. He's going to have to get in practice. We're going to have to get them back in line, because obviously we got a little bit of careless with the ball. It started last week, the past week, when we went to Houston. Jalen Hurts got a little bit of careless with the ball. He had a couple fumbles. He lost one. We recovered the other. Kelsey hopped on it. But today we weren't so lucky. Quez catches a bomb, which was going to set us up probably to win the game, and he gets up with, too much. He just got up too quick, because he is so fast. He thought he could just spring back up and then take off instead of secure the ball, knowing that someone's probably going to come behind you. So just mentally, we just weren't there tonight. It's going to happen. This is a long season, and we had 10 days off. Let me know in the comments, do you think the 10 days rest played a part in our 4 turnovers tonight, or is that no excuse? We should have been well rested and well, in tune with not only our minds but our bodies, to make sure that we take care of the rock. What do you think? Was the rest too long? Did we just have one of those games? Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Let's go over the stats, man. So I thought Jalen Hurts actually played a solid game. He went 17 for 26. We barely had the ball. They had the possession. I think it was 20 minutes to 40 minutes. They had the rock double the amount of time. And Hurts still had, 175 yards, two touchdowns. That one interception he threw to AJ, man, it hit AJ right in the hands, but he just couldn't haul it in. It hit him right in the. That was a beautiful throw. I mean, that's right where the ball needs to go. But the defender, the DB made a solid play on the ball, and he stole it. He stole a pick. He stole what would have been a scoring drive for us. So that's why we've been the best team at taking care of the ball. The best team. One of the best teams I've ever seen, honestly, at not turning over the ball. And today we looked like the worst. So I think it's an outlier game. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think another 9 out of 10 AJ would haul that in, and then carry that guy for a few extra yards, and then we would march down and score real quick. It was one of those games, man. It was just one of them games. But let's compare. So Heineke went 17 for 29, 211 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He got sacked 3 times. Oh, man, Taylor Heineke, the best throw of his night was when the ball went sailing over his head. He ran back, picked it up, ran a couple yards, and chucked it. That was his best throw of the game. Let's be honest. He didn't do much. He did what he had to do. He had a relatively, average game, but he made the plays that needed to be made. He didn't turn over the ball more than once, which I thought he was going to have 2 interceptions. That's probably, if we intercept him one more time, we probably win the game. So he had a solid game. Jalen Hurts went 17 for 26. So he had a little bit less yards, but he had two touchdowns. So he got sacked 1 time for 5 yards. The rushing department, weird rush game. Robinson Jr., he ran the ball 26 times for 86 yards and 1 TD. He had a long of 11 yards. Sanders went 12 carries for 54 yards. It just didn't seem like they got him involved in the game early on. It felt like, what the game felt like now that I'm thinking about it? Let me know in the comments. The game kind of felt like a game last year where we just got away from some of the things that we've been doing. We kind of had, those careless moments with the ball, like I said, not, AJ not hauling it in when he needed to. We just didn't, the coaching, it wasn't there tonight. We didn't have the best, game plan tonight, especially on defense. And we're going to get to Gannon. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Gannon, why I finished this. So the run game, I would give them the edge tonight, Hurts ran the ball 6 times for 28 yards. He did have that touchdown early on after they turned over the ball. Heineke did have that fumble at the beginning. We got rolling pretty quick. I thought it was going to be a quick, 21-0 type of game, but it wasn't like that. They also ran the ball with Gibson 14 times. They had a total of 49 rush attempts. So they said, and they only had 152 yards. So did we really have that bad of a run game? Or did our secondary let us down so much in the first half, to kind of put us behind in the 8 ball, like I said? We can't give Slay a pass for the first half. He had a bad game. It was his probably worst game of the season. He did lock up the second half. We got screwed over by the refs. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. And yes, they had 40 minutes. 40 minutes with the ball, and we still only lost. But it's 32-21, but it was really 26-21. We'll give them. We were in contention at the end of the game, obviously, and 2 freaking weird plays and a bad call by the refs, and we didn't get a chance, to truly, put the nail in the coffin and win the game. So it was one of them games, like I said. But yeah, the time of possession, 40 minutes to only 20. And we were still in the game. So, and we turned over the ball 4 times. It took terrible refs, okay? It took 4 turnovers, and it took the time of possession of them having the ball more than half to us lose the game, barely. Yeah, they scored at the end of the game because Devontae threw it behind them, and we were trying to do the bullshit scramble drill at the end of the game, which I hate, because it always ends up like that, and then your loss looks worse. But anyways, we won't even get into that. Reception-wise, Scary Terry. Scary Terry was scary tonight, especially in that first half. He was running routes all over our asses, man. Damn, what was going on with Slade tonight? It seemed like he just wasn't locked in tonight. Slay is he's locked in, literally. He's locking you up and he's locked in on what he has to do, whoever is in front of him. The speed, the length, whatever type of player, big guy, whatever he's going up against, he's locked in, and tonight wasn't one of those nights. I agree, it's the NFL and teams are going to lose, and watching that game was the most frustrating I've been in a while, for sure. I mean, I was sitting down on the floor watching that game like, man, is this gonna be our first loss to the damn Commanders, man? To the Commanders? We lost to the Commanders, bro. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I seen you on Philly 500 chat the other day. Yeah, man, refs cost us big as well. We'll bounce back. Fly Eagles, fly 8-1. I didn't know I was in the chat. What did they say about me? Hopefully it was good. Shout out to Philly 500, whoever's channel. Shout out Philly 500. But yeah, whatever was said about me, let me know. I didn't see it. Thanks for letting me know, though. But yeah, man, fly Eagles fly regardless. All right, it's always gonna be fly Eagles fly. You know what I mean? It's always gonna be go Birds. Because at the end of the day, we're still number one. Okay, we're still the best team in the NFL. The only team that is matched with us at 8-1 is the Vikings. And what happened to them? What happened to them when they came to the link? They walked out with a big L. 21-point loss. We had Kirk Cousins shaking in his boots back there. Dingo bingo. I think we just overlooked the Commanders, but we still lead the division. And maybe, yes, exactly. So, it's one of those games. And yeah, we possibly did overlook them. We possibly went into the game, thinking we're the shit. But we are. You have to come in that game. But I think mentally, somewhere in the game plan, somewhere in the week, too many days off, something wasn't clicking with our team. And it started with on offense to me, and it led to the defense. I think the defense started off good. Obviously, the offense started off well as well, but they were given such great field position with that Heineke fumble. So, but, with that said, the defensive line. So the defensive line is definitely hurting, man. My bad, bro. It was Philly Talk Podcast. Sorry. Oh, shout out Philly Talk Podcast. Yeah, that's my guy. But what was said? I missed what was said. But what we have to do, we have to get Jordan Davis back. Dingo bingo. You read my mind. We need to get Jordan Davis back. We're missing him. We're missing him a lot on the run defensive side of the ball. The teams that we're facing, now let's think about it. We got some big names coming up. I'm gonna pull up the schedule. I'm gonna pull up the schedule right now to see who we got coming up, and what we're exactly looking at as far as these players that we're gonna have to stop as far as the run game goes. So next week we go up against the Colts, and obviously they have Jonathan Taylor. Last year he was, he led the league in rushing. He's not having the best year this year because he's been banged up. He's had ankle issues and whatnot, but he may be healthy. We may catch him where he's 100% healthy this week. Either way, if he's healthy or not, they're gonna give him the ball 20 plus times. So that's gonna be a tough game for the run game. So Packers are after that. Obviously they have Jones. He's a hell of a running back. He had a good week against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys have a solid run defense as well. So that's another game. It's gonna be tough sledding as far as the rush defense goes, stopping the run. And then after that, we got Derrick Henry. And I think the Titans have been overlooked by other people. I haven't overlooked them. They are 6-3. They're lost to, I believe, the Chiefs. That was a tough loss that I think the refs cost them in that game, honestly. So that's going to be a tough game regardless. I think the Titans have a good defense, and I think they have a hell of a run game. But I think if the Eagles wanted to win the Super Bowl, it would have to be this year or next year. Obviously, the windows, they can close very, very fast on your ass. You know what I mean? Where you're thinking the window to win, 3 or 4 Super Bowls and whatnot, or at least go to the bowl, like you're a vintage Patriots or some shit, that can happen so fast, and then that window can close so fast on you. You know what I mean? It opens just as fast as it closes. So I agree with you. This year and next year, just looking at the schematics, these are prime times for us to get to the Super Bowl, because we're gonna have to pay some guys coming up. As a Vikings fan, it killed me to watch the refs sell a game 2 weeks in a row. Some mistakes is the refs. Why do they do this? For one, do you guys agree that it's time to, if the refs can look in their little monitor thing, and review some of these plays, why can't they review an obvious face mask? Goddard's whole face mask got pulled. That can affect the entire play as far as him being able to hold on to the ball. And yeah, he fumbled, but it was an obvious face mask that should have been called. Do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with me that that should be reviewable? If the play is being reviewed, okay, for whatever reason, if there is an obvious penalty, they can reverse the call. Let me know. Did it injure him too? Yeah, he came out of the game a little bit banged up. So that's the whole thing, man. Like, when you're running that ball and you got 2 or 3 guys pulling at you and trying to get the ball out, and then someone snags your mask, that can change the whole trajectory of you trying to brace yourself and trying to protect your neck and your head. This is a violent game. So if they're not going to protect the players with obvious technology where they can literally go in and reverse plays, then these things are gonna keep happening, period. People are going to get hurt 100%. It affects the outcome too strongly because those refs. Exactly. So, they can review all these things, but it seems like the refs and the NFL may have an agenda, and that agenda has to end eventually because technology obviously gives us the opportunity to go back and review a play, and it was an obvious play, So, with that said, how do you guys feel about the Brandon Graham call? Some people are saying it's a bonehead play by Brandon Graham. Some people say he pulled back. I'm in the middle. I think it was a bonehead play because at the end of the day, he did have enough time to pull back just a little bit more, just a little bit more. But he was so aggressive, which is understandable because he's trying to win the game. I'm not faulting him for that. And then it was also, it was kind of a touchy call, so I'm in the middle, bad call, good call. I'm kind of in the middle. It could have went either way, but that ref, he threw that flag so high in the air, bro. He threw that flag. It took 4 seconds for that flag to come down, man. It was aggressive. Like he really wanted to throw that flag and screw the Eagles in that moment. So he was trying to stop a first down. I didn't like the call. Me either. I didn't like the call. I would say it's about 60%. So it was one of those 50-50 calls, maybe in the ref's eye, but considering the type of play and the end of the game, the ramifications of that call, I think they got to let it slide. I don't know. I think he could have used his head a little bit better, but when you're sprinting at someone, exactly, man, he's running full speed. He speared into his kneecap. I'm gonna have to look that up. If you're talking about the last play, if it was at his knee, it looked like it was more at his upper body. But if that's what you call, that's your opinion. We all have our opinions on that one. I think it was a 50-50. But regardless, if considering the bad calls, and the refs know, for one, the fans are going to let them know when it's a really, really bad call, especially in Philadelphia, okay? They also have the big screens ahead of them that they can see. The refs can see that they missed a couple calls leading up to that call. And when it's a 50-50 call, it's at home, it's 8-0, they have to let that slide, man. They have to let that play slide because, like I said, by them throwing that flag on a 50-50 call, okay, the game is over. Who wants to see that? Is that good ratings for the NFL? Because as soon as that happens, people are tuning out. They're not going to be able to see the commercials and the ads and all of that. The game is just not as good. The product on the field, no one wants to see that. So I think it's time that the refs, start to let some of these type of plays go and stop overprotecting these quarterbacks, because other guys on the field, they risk their lives just like the quarterbacks risk their lives, and they don't get those type of calls. So at the end of the day, I know that it is to protect the quarterbacks, but I think it was just a touchy call. And I think at the end of the day, like, there is judgment within the calls. Eye test, I feel you. I feel you, luggage boy. I feel you. I'm going to review the play. I'm going to continue to look it over. But how I'm feeling about it, it was a 50-50 call, and I think it should have went the Eagles' way. We're the 8-0 team. We're at home, and that gives us a chance to win the game. Let it slide. Let the game go on, And it's Taylor Heinicke. He threw up that flag like it was Tom Brady or it was Joe Montana in his prime. Like, God. It was just a bad call in my opinion, because, like I said, it was leading up to that. That wasn't just the only questionable call of the night. With that said, man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. It was a tough L tonight. It was a tough L. I would have loved to go, 9-0. That was looking like a dope number for us, but it wasn't meant to be. We're still the best team in the NFL. We're still going to continue to get better. We're going to learn from this. I know you guys know sometimes a loss can really, put things into, frame, and to put everything into motion going forward, because you can go back, you can see exactly, okay, this is what we did wrong. This is what we need to improve on. And the next week you have another opportunity, That's why the Eagles are given 17 weeks to get it all together. And we still got our mind on, bigger goals ahead. So I appreciate y'all. Can't wait to see you guys in the conference championship. This was your wake up call. Caitlin Martinez, I agree with you. I agree 100%. Definitely a wake up call. It's gonna be a good year still for us. We still have a lot of good games ahead of us. That game was a wake up to reality. Exactly. Dingo bingo. I appreciate that, because I feel the same way. And now it's back to the practice field. It's on them to clean up, the little things, and to get better for the next game against the Colts. A very winnable game against the Colts. We should walk out of that game with, it should be 9-1, and then we also have the Packers. That should be 10-1. So, we're still looking good. We just have to clean a little bit of things up. But if you haven't already, and hey, if you're new to the channel, please shoot me a sub, man. Subscribe to ERT. I'm going to do this every post game. I do a pregame. I drop shorts. I drop all the videos throughout the week. So get down with ERT. Leave a like on this video. And I will see y'all next time. And as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds. And keep it real always, y'all. Have a good night. Peace out.